What's up, you guys? Tempster coming at you with a motion design tutorial. Today we're going to be in Cinema 4D as usual, and we're going to be covering some basics, some camera movements, some materials, and that kind of good stuff. I'm not going to be talking about Lightroom setup just because that's a very widely covered topic, and it's really easy to find a Lightroom if you don't have your own. Right now I'm not using my own because I didn't feel like setting one up. Anyways, we have our logo in. I'm using the Synergy logo today. Like to change it up a little bit. Been using Phase a lot. We're going to set our depth to 50, and our caps, we're going to turn to fillet caps, and set our radius to 2, and our steps to 2. This is give us some nice rounding. If you guys don't know what that means, you get some really nice highlights once we set up our materials and have some lights reflecting off of it. So let's get into this. So first thing we're going to cover is some camera movements, different kinds of camera movements, and what you can do with your cameras. So I already have a camera in here, but I'm actually just going to disable that and grab a new camera, and we're going to center it. So 0x, 0y, negative 900 for Z is what I like to do, and 0, 0 for rotation. Now if we click this little box, we'll go into our camera view, and that's all we need to do right now. Now our next step is going to be to go to Cinema 4D. We're going to go click our camera, go to tags, Cinema 4D tags, and we're going to want to grab a target. Now our target object is going to be our extrude NURBS. What this means is when we move this camera, no matter where we move it, we will always be looking at our logo. So I'm just going to go to View, Undo View, because I panned around a little bit. And I'm going to go right ahead and grab this little circle spline out of our spline tab. Now we're going to want to set our plane to ZY. If I go to my 4-panel view, you can see the logo is in the middle of it, and it'll be kind of a vertical pan, what we're going to do right now. So I'm going to crank the radius up, excuse me, and I'm going to go to our camera, go to Tags, Cinema 4D Tags, Align to Spline. Now I'm going to drag this circle into our spline path, excuse me, go to our circle and click Reverse. Now the reason we do this is because if we go into our camera, we're actually looking at the back view right now of our logo, and that's not where we want it all. So when we go into circle and click Reverse, we will be looking at the top, I believe. Nope, the bottom. Okay. So we're looking at the bottom right now, which is actually pretty good because we can just change our position to 50 because 100 would be the back or the bottom, whatever. Anyways, we're going to go up here. Let me just go into my lights real quick. Softbox. And make it so that we can't see them. Why am I still seeing it? I don't know. Okay, whatever. You just don't want them seen by the camera. Alright. So now what we're going to do is go to our camera, the little align to spline expression, and we're going to keyframe it at our first frame. Now, if you don't know how to make keyframes, you're not familiar with Cinema 4D, these little circles right here next to your fields are the keyframe little button thing. So if I control click, here I'll do segment just because I'm not going to be changing that. It'll turn red and then you have a keyframe there. So I'm going to go ahead and go to 90 frames. And for those of you who don't know, my current output settings are 30 frames per second. So if we do the math there, 30 frames would be 1 second. So if we multiply that by 3 to get 3 seconds, we will be at 90 frames. So we're going to set our position to, let's see, where will we be on a front view of our logo? A front view would be 25%, but we're going to set it down to 9%. And now we're going to find where it's at, that front view. So once it's at 25, see if we can get exactly 25. No, So since we can't get exactly 25, we're going to make our own keyframe at 25 and just type it in, keyframe. And in the middle of 0 and 90 would be 45. So we're going to go to frame 45 and we're going to bring this over here. 45. Perfect. Okay. So now if we scrub through, we have this animation where it kind of should slow down around here. So what I want to do is actually make another keyframe. This is really just a lot of keyframes over here. And if I drag it closer to the 90, bring it to 80 maybe. So it'll go like this, slow down a little bit when we get to our logo, and then quickly finish up. So let me just set this down to 0 so we can really finish up. So we'll go like boom, slows down and kind of kicks itself, goes where it should be, boom. I don't know what speed I like, but that'll be good. So now that we have that pan, we can either, call it a day, make that the intro. But, as you'll see, we kind of finish right here. Or we can go over here and go into this tab. Not sure the actual name for this tab, but you got your floors and all that good stuff. And we're going to grab a stage. Now, what this stage will allow us to do is change what camera we view really easily, and we can do it all in one render as opposed to having to render different camera views. So we're going to go into our stage, and we're going to go right before frame 90, and we're going to keyframe our camera. No, I just drag the stage into the stage, didn't I? Yep. Camera 1, keyframe. Go to frame 90. We're going to make a new camera, and we're going to bring it into the stage, keyframe. Now you'll see this camera is off doing something. We're going to go to view, camera, sorry, we're going to go to camera, front, and no, we don't want that. What do I want? Perspective? Why is this not working? Oh, I know what's going on. Okay, we're gonna go back a frame, right? We're gonna click this. We're gonna delete this camera right here first. We're gonna click our perspective view, grab a new camera, boom. Oh, we gotta go forward a frame. Go forwards one frame, bring it into our stage, keyframe. There we go. All right, perfect. Now we're going to want to zero these out again. -900. Boom. Okay. So now we're back. We got our default camera that we started with basically. Let me just hide these. And I want to keep that on for the renderer. Okay. Now with this camera, what we can do is we can either create a second pan, or we can kind of create the intro kind of logo reveal, text reveal, whatever you want to call it. So what we're going to do is go to our camera, and we want to set a target, but what we're going to do with this target is bring it to the extrude NURBS again, and we're going to zoom in this time. Now once we zoom in, we want it really close, and then this little tool right here, it looks like a kind of move tool. We're going to rotate it so that we're looking up at the logo again. Now, our cuts right here, right at the bottom of the logo. So it's going to look a little bit strange, but we can work with it. So at 90, frame 90, okay, we're going to keyframe our camera position. Now, we're not going to have to control click anything because, we're not making any align to spline. We're not using anything like that. Now, I'm going to go ahead and, let me think, 90, so 180 will be 3 seconds from that, and that'll be perfect. 180 is where we're going to want to go. I'm trying to think of when I wanted it to end. So it'll be like a 6-second intro. We're going to want to zoom out, and we're going to turn our rotation down here in this little window menu. Oh, can't do that. Alright, we got to position it ourselves apparently. Come on. That'll be good enough. And just get it nice and, nice and positioned how you like, and make another keyframe. Now if we watch this through, it'll go boom, boom, and you'll see because we have frames after 180, it'll kind of keep going. But this will be up to 10 seconds, so we want to cut it off around 7. So 180 to 210 would be 7 seconds. So let's bring it to 210, and we're going to keyframe our camera zoomed out even more. Now I want to go to 190, zoom in a little bit, keyframe, just so that when we zoom out, it'll be kind of slow. Oh, what just happened? Delete. Here, right, we'll keyframe right there. So I like a fast zoom out, and it'll slow. And let me just make sure this ends at 210. So ready? Boom, boom, boom. Okay, now we have our camera movements. We can actually start animating this logo if we wanted to, but because we have the target objects, animating the logo can kind of mess up our animation. So it's really up to you if you want to, have the logo rotate. I'm not going to in this intro. What I'm going to do now is have the text come in and reveal. So I'm going to go to MoText, and we're going to position this. I'm going to go to my MoText, menu. We're going to set the align to middle, and we're going to drag it down to the center of our logo. Bring it forwards a little bit. We're going to want to scale it down, of course, because it's huge right now. And we're going to want to change our font. Now, font choice is all up to you. I'm not going to tell you what font to use and what not to use. I have preferences in my fonts, and I'm sure you guys have preferences in your fonts. So, it's all up to you. Now, you'll see if you look in your top view that the text isn't, or if you look in my top view at least, that the text isn't touching the logo. And I actually like it to not touch the logo. It kind of, looks a little bit better to me. Let me just change this text to Synergy so it'll make sense. And scale it down so it fits in the logo. It can be a little bit bigger. And I'm going to bring it forwards even more, because what I'm going to do next is go here to our Deformers tab, and we're going to grab a wrap. Now this wrap is going to look kind of, bad at first, but if we drag it forward and position it, turn our width up a little bit, turn our radius up, if we get this nice and positioned, that should be good. You'll see we have our text wrapping around. We can do this to the logo as well if we wanted to, but I don't feel like it right now. So what we're going to do now is have this text kind of appear, because you'll see it doesn't really look that great having it just sitting there throughout the entire intro. So what we're going to do is go right before our, this little part before stage switches cameras. So frame 89, and we're going to click on MoText, go to MoGraph Effector, and Plane. Now what this does, if we do this, we got to change it. Let me just turn off my stage real quick and go to my default camera. And what we're going to do is go to our MoText and our Plane, and we're going to go to Parameter. Now position is selected by default. We're going to uncheck that. We're going to go to Scale, and we're going to set it to Uniform Scale -1. Now what this will do is it'll make our text for temporarily invisible. So what we need to do is change our shape to box, and you'll see our text kind of reappears. And that's because our box isn't covering all of our text right now. And how we can fix this is just by clicking these little orange dots and lines and positioning it so that it does. Now you'll see if I do move this box, the text just kind of appears, and it doesn't look great. But if I make a keyframe with where the box is with the position, and I go to my MoText again and go to MoGraph Effector Random, and we're going to change our position to 10, 10, and 10. Change our rotation, just give random values really. And we're going to keyframe our strength under our Effectors tab. And then we're going to go ahead to let's try to remember when we had our camera going. Let's go to about 150. And we're going to keyframe our strength at 0. And we're going to go back into our plane, and we're going to move it to the side. And we want it a little bit further off to the side, actually. And keyframe. Now, if we just scrub through this, our text kind of builds in, rotates a little bit into position, and we have our intro. So if you have any more questions, I'm not going to texture this at all right now. There'll be another tutorial on materials. I'll actually save this so that we can just get right into the same project file and hopefully finish up, an intro. So if you have any more questions and things that you want to see in a tutorial in the future, just let me know down in the comments or on Twitter. Thanks for watching. I've been Temps. Thanks again. Just said thank you like 9 times. All right, goodbye.